What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Tropical Thunder back again with a brand new video. Today we'll be talking about Project Cars 2. Most specifically, everything that's been coming out through E3 2017. And there was a developer by the name of Andy Tudor who attended, or he did a presentation at the PC Gamer Weekend question and answer, or Q&A. And there's a lot of things and a lot of new features that came out, and he just wanted to present it all, and basically the main features is going to be in the game. So one of the first things that Andy Tudor tackled in this conference was to ask players on social media about the concerns and some of the issues that came across the first installment of Project Cars. And he confirmed that a lot of the issues that were in Project Cars 1 were fixed on day one. For example, issues like sticking between two cars when they collide. The gamepad controller handling had been dramatically improved, and it's supposedly more user-friendly, right? And the AI, there's been concerns about them being like too aggressive, and that's been toned down a little bit, and they've obviously been like more smarter, I guess. So before Andy talked about any of the new features in this game, he wanted to make it perfectly clear that the big issues that were in Project Cars 1 were fixed. So the new features that Andy presented at the Q&A were divided basically into three sections: the power of condition, the pinnacle of authenticity, and the heat of the competition. So first of all, the power of condition. In Project Cars 2, Andy said that you will not only be fighting with your opponents, the racers in the track, but you will also be fighting with Mother Nature. Now, all these tracks in the game will have dynamic time of day, weather, and seasonal changes. What this means is that you can drive on a specific track and experience seasonal weather changes that you experience pretty much in real life for like a particular season. For example, during like winter you could experience snow, and during the summer you could experience some dry heat that influences the track. Now, this has all been possible with the technology of Live Track 3.0 that is basically like this new feature in Project Cars 2. Andy explained how Live Track 3.0 does basically three main features. The first being that the track now evolves throughout the season or throughout the race weekend. So for example, the track surface differs before the event, after like the practice session, and during the actual event. And what he meant by that is that there's specific factors that are being brought in and being added during the race weekend. For example, you could have rubber pellets, oil drips, skid marks, or even gravel that a player or a driver brought onto the track, and this can adversely affect how other drivers take on the track. Other features that Live Track controls are the track temperature, ambient temperature, and wind velocity. The final features that the Live Track controls are the raindrops and puddles. As the raindrop hit the surface of the track, they're pretty much absorbed and eventually they form rain puddles, right? Pretty much that's how every game is. That's how it is in real life. So some parts of the track have different rates of absorption. So other players can expect parts of the track to be drier or wetter than others. And he says that will hopefully allow players to take on different dynamic and different racing lines. It is also important to note that Live Track is this living and organic organism that poses like Mother Nature in order to create like this authentic and realistic driving experience for us drivers out there. So the next thing that Andy talked about was the pinnacle of authenticity. So not only does Project Cars 2 use laser scanning of tracks, which pretty much every racing game uses to make their tracks, but they also wanted to be as detailed and accurate as possible when it comes to specific details on the track. So what they did was they flew drones and they took pictures and footage of the tracks like really close up, right? And they would also do it from the drone, which is like sort of from like an aerial perspective. And not only are the tracks do they look accurate, but they're also physically and mathematically the same as the actual location itself. Pretty much whatever you see on the track is what you would see in real life. And Andy also announced that Project Cars 2 will have this new and enhanced tire model. He went off to say that the tires are now squishy and they're more malleable. I remember him mentioning that it's easy for the computers to or to scan something that's, like that's hard and like metal, like glass. That's easy for the computer to like render, right? But for something that's rubber and something that changes, it's very hard. So with the help of the tire manufacturers, they were able to measure the rubber, the temperature, air pressure, and the rates of wear of specific tires in their games. And with this help, they were able to get all this information to allow the tracks to be more realistic and to enhance the depth of feeling from the previous Project Cars 1. Now in Project Cars 2, drivers can expect that they can exceed the capacity of grip, and when the tires start to lose grip and you see your car start to go sideways, it is now more manageable to regain traction as opposed to losing traction altogether and spinning out completely from the previous Project Cars 1, right? And I'm pretty sure all of us who's played that game can attest to that. So Andy also promoted that to create a more higher level of authenticity, Project Cars 2 has 7 professional drivers. They are Ben Collins, Nicholas Hamilton, Renee Rast, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Tommy Milner, Mitchell DeJong, and Oliver Erickson. And from these different types of motorsports, they are all helping out in being able to create this game, right? And they're not only used for marketing. I mean, I'm pretty sure they are just to like say how great the game is, but they're also, what's unique about Project Cars 2 is that they're using them not only for marketing, but they're also using them as physics and handling consultants. These drivers are the ones who know how to pretty much race, and they practice their discipline as a career. And ultimately, they know how their cars perform on track, right? They know how things handle, and they know how the real physics of things, because they pretty much do this for a career. Now, the professional drivers are the ones who advise the developers of the game and give them feedback on how the car should handle on the track. And if the pro drivers tell them that their car doesn't feel a certain way or it doesn't feel right, then the developers, what they do is that they fix it, right? They want the professional drivers to tell them that they're wrong. They want them to be able to create this awesome, like pretty much this level of realism, and tell them how to do their jobs basically. And this pretty much makes sense because all the pro drivers, they practice their motorsport or their discipline of racing every day in and day out, and they do this for a career. And it just makes sense that they would put them or ask them for help for this game. So the last section that Andy talked about was the heating of the competition. Andy announced that Project Cars 2 will be adding a brand new feature brand new game mode in the game called Online Championships. With Project Cars 2, the developers wanted to help the community members who host different racing events by allowing them to create their own series and league events. Like within the game modes, that this new game mode, Online Championships, hosts, they can be able to like set teams, rounds, the schedules, and pretty much notify their drivers or the players who want to participate in their league or in their series. They can pretty much send it out there, and at the end of the event or at the end of the race, they can pretty much pull up the results of the times that each driver won, and pretty much everyone's standing, right? And this is all automatic. Right after you finish the race, it's done. It's just brings it up. All this data is put on there. And he also announced that you can now earn a competitive eSports license accreditation in Project Cars 2. With this license, you can expect to be matched with people or players who pretty much drive or have that same driving skill as you. So for example, if you have a high rank, you can expect to play with other players who drive competitively. And if you're a driver who likes to bump and crash other players and leave events, then there's a special ranking for you. but this is mainly to set aside those who just really want to play competitively and those who just play like on a casual basis, like pretty much probably once a day or something like that. You just jump on and then jump back off. But hopefully with this competitive license, they hope to accomplish that they remove the toxicity and to promote players for them to progress and, you know, have something to grind for. Always come back to the game and to grind for it. And another feature that's being added to esports side of things is there's like a dedicated director / broadcaster functionality when it comes to broadcasting like a specific race. So if, for example, you and like 2 other friends, you're really passionate, or you're really passionate about your league that you made, or your championship or your series that you made, and you want to broadcast it to like something like Twitch, right? And so with this new feature, it allows you to assign one of your friends as a director, and it's that person's job to be able to set what screens or what players are being broadcasted, so which racers, which drivers are on screen, pretty much. And you can also assign another player or another friend to commentate and engage the fans who are watching the event. Not only is this used for, obviously, for us, but it's also used for a way for different sponsors who want to host events, like probably like Red Bull, or I don't know, some of the other championship events, and for the developers themselves when they come to when they decide to host their own events. So the last thing that Andy announced is that in Project Cars 2, they pretty much have that the iconic manufacturers that are missing in Project Cars 1, which was quite a few. So if there's some manufacturers that you didn't see in Project 1 and like they're pretty popular, then most likely they're gonna come to Project Cars 2. In addition to this, they'll be adding new disciplines of motorsport like Indy racing. I think that's more on, on the esports side of things. And they also announced that they'll be adding new forms of loose surface racing. For example, dirt, gravel, mud, snow, and ice. I think we've seen a couple of them. There's like the Mercedes training one up in that's the ice one, the ice gameplay. We've seen a lot of dirt and mud. I have not seen any gravel or any snow gameplay, but pretty much that's everything that was said in this conference. So pretty much that was everything said that Andy Tudors said or announced in this PC Gamer Weekend Q&A. And I will be having a link in the description for you guys. It's a much longer video. It's like 33 minutes, but I try to like shorten it and, you know, keep the minimum. And pretty much every point that he made, I just made it a more concise and more pretty much like a summary of everything he said. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'll see you on the next one.